Welcome back to Bit Break. I'm back with our March book haul. I have just been sent a mystery box of books. Inside this box is a selection of some of the most exciting books that we published here at Macmillan throughout the month of March, and I am now going to open this box in front of you. So the very first book on the top, I'm very personally excited about this one. It's a brand new edition of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. This is a classic, it was a childhood classic of mine, and it is now a brand new movie. So we have a lovely new edition here that's a tie-in for the film. I am so excited to watch the film. This was the book that taught me so many things when I was a teenager. It covers getting your period for the first time, wearing a bra for the first time, the things that you talk about with your girlfriends that you're too scared to say to anyone else. I read this book over and over. And the excitement continues with the next book, Red Queen. This book has been so buzzed about. This is an international thriller, so it's now been translated from Spanish. There is a TV show as well in Spanish. In Spain, this has been a massive hit, and so I'm so excited that we can read this one now. It is about a serial killer, and it's about a very interesting, very special detective. Antonia Scott is not a policewoman or a lawyer. She has never wielded a weapon or carried a badge, and yet she has solved dozens of crimes. So she is this very mysterious figure, and she has not left her attic room for a long while. So like I said, a very interesting kind of detective in Red Queen. This one has also been massive, and is massive. Recipe Tin Eats Dinner. This book is packed with over 150 recipes from Australia's favourite cook, Nagi Mehashi from Recipe Tin Eats. Nagi runs a really popular food website. She gets millions of visitors every year, and this book packed with some of her incredible recipes, but also every recipe comes with a QR code so you can get a follow along video. Her personality comes across so well as well in the book. So this section is called Pasta and Cozy Food. Already telling you this is going to be my favourite section. It says, heads up, there's a lot of cheese here. I make no apologies. That is great, Nagi. Thank you very much. If I Let You Go is the brand new book by Charlotte Levin. So Charlotte Levin was the author of If I Can't Have You, which was this dark story about a woman going too far in her quest to convince the man that she loves that she was in fact the one for him. I absolutely loved that book, so excited that I've got a brand new book to read. If I Let You Go is about a woman called Janet who carries with her this trauma from 11 years ago, this guilt that she feels for a devastating loss in her past. And in present day, she is a witness to a train crash, and she finds an opportunity to make up for this guilt that she feels. However, her involvement in this brings her a lot of publicity, which threatens to bring back the secret from her past. This one I've heard is a really beautiful book about grief and about redemption. The Green Gardening Handbook, look how beautiful this is. This is the latest book from the legend Nancy Birtwistle. So this book is all about growing your own vegetables, and it's filled with 101 really good tips and ideas. Nancy Birtwistle's focus is on being more sustainable, more eco-friendly, and she's got tips in here that will give you advice no matter what kind of space you're working with. You might be lucky enough to have a whole garden to build a vegetable patch in, or you might be just looking at a spare windowsill in your London flat. Regardless, Nancy has got some tips for you. A Fortunate Woman. I have seen so many people talking about this book. So this is now out in paperback. This book was shortlisted for the Baillie Gifford Prize for non-fiction. So this book where Polly Morland tells a country doctor's story. So this book starts when Polly Morland is clearing out her mother's house, and she finds a book that leads her to a remarkable figure, the country doctor, who has been working in this remote valley where Polly has been living for many years. And this country doctor is kind of a rarity in modern medicine, the doctor who knows each and every one of her patients inside out. So I can see why this book has been such a big word of mouth success. It's filled with these gorgeous photos, and it's a love letter to this community and to nature, and as well as to what it means to be a really good doctor. Some historical fiction, The Darkest Sin by D.V. Bishop. This is set in Florence in 1537. It's got a floor plan at the beginning, which is something I absolutely love in books, particularly in mysteries. So this is the follow-up to City of Vengeance by D.V. Bishop. We've got another historical crime story. Cesare Aldo is the detective that we already met in City of Vengeance. This time he's investigating a report of intruders at a convent. But the case becomes far more complicated when a man's body is found deep inside the convent, stabbed more than 24 times. Unthinkable as it seems, all the evidence suggests one of the nuns must be the killer. Another one now out in paperback, The Exhibitionist by Charlotte Mendelsohn. This book's absolutely brilliant. If you like books about dysfunctional families, this family is as dysfunctional as they come. It's set over the course of a weekend in the build-up to an art exhibition that the father of this family is putting on. He is a successful artist and a massive narcissist who has made his wife and children's lives a living hell because of his own self-obsession. So in the book, we jump between all the different characters of this family, each going through their own struggles, each with their own secrets. It's tense, it's claustrophobic, it's moving, it's funny, it's absolutely brilliant. Another paperback release of one of my favourite books of the last year, Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is a love story meets a horror story. It's also very witty and very funny and very moving. So this strange little book is about a married couple, Leah and Miri. It's told between two timelines. In the present day, Leah has just returned from a deep sea mission that went wrong, and she has come back seemingly not fully human. So that perspective is told from Miri's point of view as she tries to look after her wife Leah, but also mourns the woman that she had fallen in love with, who this version of Leah no longer seems to be. And the other timeline is from Leah's point of view when she is on this deep sea mission under the sea, and we try and work out what actually happened in the depths of the sea. It is creepy and it is beautiful. It's been a massive TikTok sensation. It's been a massive sensation, full stop. More paperbacks. Oh, this one is The Party House by Lynn Anderson. So this is a thriller set in a small community with big secrets. My favourite type of thriller. So this is set in a small town that has been devastated by a recent pandemic that was brought in by outsiders. And so the locals are absolutely furious when they hear that the nearby estate plans to reopen its luxury tourist party house. Animosity sparks, and in the ensuing chaos, the body of a young girl is found in the wreck. A girl who went missing 5 years ago, never to be seen again until now. So the discovery of her remains ignites old suspicions and turns everyone in this community on each other. Another crime book from a crime icon, Anne Cleeves. This is The Rising Tide, now out in paperback. This is the 10th book in the Vera Stanhope series that the show Vera is based on. And this one is about a group of friends who 50 years ago spent a weekend together forging this incredible bond, and every 5 years they meet up again. But at their first reunion all those years ago, one of the friends was lost to the rising waters of the causeway. Even after that, they still meet every 5 years to honour their friend and to honour their friendship. But now one of them is found hanged, and that's when Vera is called in. And Vera knows she must discover what the friends are hiding, and whether the events of many years before could have led to murder then and now. Now for a brand new hardback, The Theory of Not Quite Everything by Cara Nodder. Such a fun, beautiful, colourful cover. I love this. I haven't read this yet, but this seems to me like one for lessons in chemistry fans, but set in the world of maths instead. And I love maths. It's about a brother and sister, Mimi and Art. Art is a mathematical genius who thinks that maths is the answer to everything, and Mimi thinks that love is an exception to that rule. And so when Mimi sets out on a dating hunt to find her soulmate, Art is convinced that an algorithm is the right way to go about that, and so the siblings' relationship is stretched, to say the least, with the arrival of Frank, a romantic stargazer who is definitely not algorithm approved. So it's about love, it's about family, and it's about maths. This one is lovely. Any fans of the podcast To My Sisters, there is now a book, A Guide to Building Lifelong Friendships. So Renee and Courtney from the podcast To My Sisters have put together this guide to sisterhood. So they've come up with loads and loads of practical advice. They have these 5 friendship profiles, and so they can help you figure out which one you belong to and then give you tailored advice based on that. It's also got reflective activities in it, loads of wise words. And it's essentially a love letter to female friendships, some of the most important relationships we will ever have in our lives. This is a great box so far. There's still quite a lot in here. Next up, we have, very excited about this one, You Have the Power by Leah Williamson. Leah Williamson is the captain of the England women's football team. She also plays for the Arsenal women's football team. I am a huge Leah Williamson fan. I actually have my own signed copy from her. This is not it. This is a book aimed at young people to help show them that they can do anything. They can achieve anything they put their mind to, on and off the pitch. So it's a really, really positive guide filled with advice, filled with stories from Leah's own life about how she overcame so many obstacles thrown in her way, and to encourage young people to see that they can too. You do not have to be a football fan to have been moved and delighted by the success of the women's team at the Euros, and so regardless of what kind of dreams you have, this book can apply to them. Before You Suffocate Your Own Full Self by Danielle Evans is a short story collection. Danielle Evans is also the author of The Office of Historical Corrections, which is another short story collection that I absolutely loved. She is a very, very talented writer. So in this collection, which I have not read yet, but I'm very excited about, we will read about a college student's unplanned pregnancy that forces her to confront her feelings of resentment towards her more privileged classmates. A father's misguided attempt to rescue a gift for his adult daughter magnifies all he doesn't know about her. And 2 teenage girls' flirtation with adulthood that leads to disastrous consequences. There's always a few books in every box that I just steal to take home with me, and that is one of them. Now this is beautiful, and I have not seen this. Wonder, the Natural History Museum poetry book by Anna Sampson. This is gorgeous. Explore the wondrous natural world with this awesome collection of poems. So it's poems inspired by the Natural History Museum and the things that you find inside it, like dinosaurs, fossils, space, creepy crawlies, amazing mammals, so much more. And you've got poems in here from Neil Gaiman, Paul Cookson, Grace Nichols, and many more. This is a really lovely idea. They've got an extra massive dinosaur at the moment in the Natural History Museum, so maybe I'll go and then pick this one up in the gift shop. Your Story Matters by Nikesh Shukla, now out in paperback. This is a guide to sharpening your writing skills, finding your voice, and telling your story. So this is a really practical guide for aspiring writers, regardless of your level of experience and regardless of what kind of thing it is that you want to write. It might be a novel, it might be a short story, it might be a personal essay, or you might not know and you just know that you have this urge to write something. This book will help you figure that out. I actually did a video that I'll link to below when this one first came out in hardback, where I spent a week trying out different activities from different books, and I had a go at some of these writing activities and really, really enjoyed myself. So I will link to that below if you want to go have a watch. The Book of Legends, now out in paperback. This is an adventure story from none other than Lenny Henry. It's a comedy adventure about Bran and Fran, who love living with their mum, who is the storyteller at the Once Upon a Wow bookstore in their small Midlands town. Ever since Dad disappeared in a bolt of lightning, Mum and her big book of stories have been the centre of Bran and Fran's world. But then Mum goes missing in a lightning strike as well, and so Bran and Fran are left to figure out that their mum's beloved storybook is actually a portal to another world, where there is a magical adventure waiting for them, and hopefully they can find their mum and their way home as well. Now I Am Here by Chidi Abera is a brand new literary fiction hardback. It's a debut novel about the violence of war. It's described here as unflinching, thought-provoking, and devastating. The armies of the National Defence Movement have been crushed, and the officer and his unit are surrounded. Prepared for defeat at the hands of the enemy and with only his sins for company, he turns to confession, writing home to his love. And so we get this full story of this officer who has no name and his nation is not specified. It's the story of how a gentle man can be gradually transformed into a war criminal, committing acts he wouldn't have thought himself capable. That sounds like a tearjerker. It sounds incredibly powerful. let's slip that one this way as well. Are you exhausted yet? We have 3 more. So another paperback release, Eyes of the Void by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is a science fiction book. It's the second book in the final Architecture trilogy. Adrian Tchaikovsky is one of the most beloved sci-fi writers of all time, and there is a quote here saying that this series, the final Architecture trilogy, might be Tchaikovsky's best so far, and that's saying something. That's from Stephen Baxter. The New Scientist described it as a rip-roaring space opera. So science fiction fans, pick up this book and dive into a future where humanity has almost been destroyed. The Headmaster's List by Melissa de la Cruz is a YA novel. The book is about star student Spencer, who has worked hard to earn her place on the exclusive Headmaster's List. But now she is left reeling from the aftermath of a tragic crash. 4 teens drove home together from the party of the summer, and one of them never made it. Spencer needs to regain her memories of that night in order to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, the school's true crime podcast is fighting for justice in their own way, or are they just fueling vicious rumors? And finally, this one looks lovely, In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer. The world thinks they're destined to be together. So this sounds cute. So this is about a meet cute between 2 strangers that goes viral. Franny and Hayes could not be a more disastrous match, but they have already become a social media sensation after Hayes rescued Franny from the subway doors, ripping her favorite dress to ruins. All of New York is shipping #SubwayCuties, but these 2 could not be more different. And yet somehow they just keep running into each other. This sounds adorable. Let's put that one this way too. So I have made it to the bottom of the box. Let me know in the comments below which of those books you are most excited to get your hands on this month, and I will also leave a link here to a playlist full of all of our previous book hauls so you can go back through and browse the backlist, and I'll see you next time.